Namaskar, Sat Sri Akal, welcome and adab. You are listening to Bharat FM, a one-of-its-kind, multilingual, eclectic provider of entertainment, information and news to Indian Americans. Headquartered in Cincinnati, Ohio, Bharat FM airs shows out of Cincinnati, Chicago and Phoenix. We take pleasure in our ability to cater to your bhakti, chusti, sfurti, shakti and masti needs with our audio and visual shows. Check out bharatfm.com for our online program schedule and archives. I'm sure the content will definitely tickle your senses. Tune in via the 24-hour web streaming on bharatfm.com or via the Bharat FM app. More information can be procured at 513-488-5070.
This is Bharat FM.
बजेगा भारत झूमेगा भारत.
ये है भारत FM.
बजेगा भारत झूमेगा भारत.
Namaskar, Namaste, and a good day. Wishing everyone happy Raksha Bandhan from Storytellers Cafe. I'm your host, Usha Venkatraman from Mumbai, India. The festival season has kick-started, my friends. So with Raksha Bandhan, we go on next week to Janmashtami and thereon to many other festivals. So welcome to Storytellers Cafe on Bharat FM. And Storytellers Cafe is premieres or streamed live every Sunday at 9 p.m. Indian Standard Time and 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. So I welcome all listeners and viewers from Cincinnati, from Chicago, and Phoenix, and from across the world, especially from India, from Bhopal in Madhya Pradesh. Bhopal is a beautiful, beautiful city. I have been there, visited it a couple of times, and I can vouch for it. You sure should go during winter. That's the best time to experience. And our guest tonight is from the beautiful city of Bhopal. Let me welcome Poonam Joshi onto our studios. Hi Poonam, welcome, namaste. Our pleasure to host you, Poonam, on Storytellers Cafe. And I'm going to give a brief introduction about you. So friends, sit back, cozy up with your loved ones, and listen to Storytellers Cafe for the next 1 hour and completely travel to wonderful, I would say, story lands where magic is possible and anything and everything you want to do. Anything is possible. Aim for the stars, and you never know, you might reach the heaven. So, Poonam Joshi is our guest tonight on Storytellers Cafe. Poonam Joshi is an accomplished educator, soft skills and English trainer with an experience of over 15 years. Poonam has worked in various capacities, from being a teacher, senior headmistress, and principal in different institutions. She has also trained and groomed students for the hospitality and the aviation sector as a trainer with Air Hostess Academy, Dehradun, and the Indian Institute of Hotel Management, Bhopal. Her love for stories was instilled in her childhood by her father, who narrated stories to her. As a child, she was often found telling stories to herself in front of a mirror. From there, she graduated to painting stories on canvas. And as an artist and as a trained Hindustani vocalist, she blended music and rhythm into her stories. And the quest is still on. Poonam has performed at various gatherings nationally and internationally. She often tells stories written by her, both in English and Hindi. As an army officer's wife, Poonam has traveled to the remotest corners of India and collected stories that empowered not only her, but also the listeners. Poonam has a penchant for personal stories and believes personal stories are a powerful medium for personal growth, connection, and change. With this thought, Poonam recently launched a podcast called Call of Duty: Real Soldiers, Real Stories. Something that even I'm going to check it out since it's recently launched, which brings inspirational stories from the soldiers of the Indian Armed Forces. Poonam holds story circles for children and adults through her venture Katha Vriksha, where stories grow. She is also a theatre enthusiast, the co founder of Indian Storytellers Healing Network and Bhopal Storytellers Tribe. Poonam is also an actor and a playback and is an actor with a playback theatre group, the Actors Collective, which gives performances once a month through their online format. Poonam is into fitness, and as an ambassador for various marathons, she uses stories to motivate her students and adults to work towards their physical and mental well being. Leading by example, she completed the Ironman 70.3 in October 2019, at the age of 53, becoming the first woman Ironman finisher of Madhya Pradesh and Central India. Kudos to you, Poonam. You can find Poonam on the Facebook, Instagram, and her handles are, colorful Call of Duty, that is Real Soldiers, Real Stories, RSRS. And on Instagram, her handle is also Call of Duty Podcast. So do check out. We will be putting this on Poonam's bio. Please feel free to get in touch with Poonam and do drop in your comments as we go on to this interview. We would love to listen to you, listen from you, and let us know your feedback. So, Poonam, once again, welcome to Storytellers Cafe. A pleasure.
Thank you so much, Usha. It is indeed a pleasure to be here with you today. And this beautiful Bharat FM and your Storytellers Cafe, I have been following it. And the stories that come and the insights that I get, they are adding to me, my, own persona. So I think it's a wonderful initiative. Thank you for having
Thank
me here.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to me, Poonam. Yes, I too learn a lot from the guests who grace my cafe. You see? So, friends, pick up your choice of brew in the morning, your coffee or tea or hot cocoa. And those of you watching from Bhopal, maybe a hot cup of chocolate or your favorite drink. And let's listen to Storytellers Cafe with Poonam Joshi. Poonam, as I always begin my show, I ask this question because it's a journey. We are all in a journey. Life is a journey. What's been your journey like? We would really love to know, how did you get into storytelling?
Yeah. So, yes, very rightly said, life is a journey and we are all on a path. It takes us different ways, but yeah, there is something, there is a calling, and you will definitely reach there. And that's what I believe. My journey started as a little girl, when I was born, and my father was into storytelling. That time I was very little, I did not understand his stories because his stories were very personal. But he had a habit of, giving those little incidents, some insights of his life. As a child, sometimes I even laughed at it. But then they stayed on. They stayed with me for a long time. Years passed by. I graduated, and then went into teaching, got married to an army officer, and that's where again more stories came into my life. There was movement every year, every 2 years rather. And then those stories now started getting, a shape in my head. I could understand what they meant when my father told me. So my interest in stories grew. I was always into writing. I would write a lot of stories even as a child because my father inculcated that habit ever since I was a little girl. In fact, he was so particular that while we were traveling, he would give us a pen and a paper or a pad, and he would say, "You must write down the names of the stations that are passing by and whatever you see there." So I think that's where the writing journey started. And I would write stories and poems. And I did not share much till I was a little grown up because I was a little embarrassed. I didn't know whether they were good or bad. But when I started sharing, I realized they were good enough to be told. And that's when I started telling stories. Then, when I started teaching, my subject was always English and sometimes even fine arts because I'm a postgraduate in fine arts. So I would take these two subjects. And both these subjects are associated with stories again. Even when you're painting a canvas, it is a story that you tell. When you're reading a story, it is something that you feel, you live it. And the same with poetry. So my connect grew stronger as I went into this profession. Later, that time India was not into storytelling as a profession. So we would tell stories in the class. I was taking these persona enhancement classes also. There also everything was by example, through a story. And I realized the importance that how, it reaches everybody. Some part of it reaches. So again, the feeling that this is something very important, I have to learn more about it. And this curiosity took me further. I started reading, I started joining so many different courses. I started, working on this craft. I realized it's a craft. You can work so much on it. And then the pandemic happened and everything, the world shrunk. Now I have friends who are storytellers from all around the world. And that's how I think, Usha, you also met me, and through the online format. Then we had Feast in Bangalore. I was lucky enough to be in Bangalore, so I met them also. So this journey is like happening. It's just on and on and on. Something good is happening every year, every moment. And my journey is becoming more beautiful. I'm getting more, the learning is getting better. The telling is getting better. And yeah, I'm still on the journey and enjoying it thoroughly.
Lovely, lovely, Poonam. Yes, the journey continues. We never stop. And then things get better, of course, our craft and our art. Wonderful, Poonam. Poonam, while I was going through your profile, you said personal stories are something that you believe in, and they are for personal growth, connection. And I know as you started the healing network in India, Storytellers Network, which I suppose is all about personal stories as well as, of course, other traditional stories. Could you tell us about why personal stories? Because that stands out.
Yeah. So, like I said, my first storyteller was my father, and he always told personal stories. And when I say personal stories, it is his own story. And as a young boy of 7, he had left his house. And his journey was tremendous. He was a successful businessman by the age of 25. So all the stories that he told me, they resonated. And I could connect so well as I grew. I realized the power of his stories, how he had changed us all. I'm the eldest in my family. All the siblings, we would sit together, listen to his stories, and we became so close to him. We were more connected to him than our mother. Our mother was a little, silent, quiet lady. She wouldn't tell so many stories. So that's when I realized that, yes, when you tell your own story, the bond is very strong. And that thought always made me feel that I would, go and read biographies. I would feel the connect with the person that I'm reading the story with. And then later in life, about the marathon that you're talking about, the triathlon, that is also a story that I could complete it because I learned through personal stories. There was a person whom I met who would talk about his triathlon, the Ironman. I did not know anything. And his story moved me so much that I desired myself, that I wanted to do this. And the kind of training then I took for the event, it changed me further. Now, whenever I talk to students or even other children or grown-ups, and I talk about my journey, it motivates them. There are so many who comes with questions, who want to know more about. So, personal stories, they make you a better person indeed. And when you tell your stories, the whole world becomes yours. They are like connected to you. There is a bond, and I value that bond a lot. And the same thought was with ISHN also, like you said, as a group, we came together. We were 5 storytellers. We came together during the pandemic. We realized that we are going through very uncertain times, times when people need to hear each other out. And with that thought, we started ISHN. We did a few festivals. We spoke about compassion. We spoke about how together as a community we can, move forward. And this difficulties, we can actually ward them away by just being together and smiling and listening to stories. So again, I found the power in the stories. So that's how this came into being. And we do healing circles almost every month. Every month we have one, and there are people who join us. And the stories we tell are sometimes personal, sometimes they are traditional. But yes, I feel a lot of solace comes through the stories.
Sorry. I agree with you, Poonam. Stories are therapeutic. Stories definitely bring you peace, calm, equanimity, and a sense of balance in you. And especially when you have healing circles. Both of us are part of a healing circle which happens twice a month internationally. And we are fortunate because of the pandemic, like you said, the world has shrunk. So and India has in the last 1 year there have been so many you could say tribes or associations or guilds that have been formed and sustaining and doing well. So one of them is ISHN, which you've spoken about, and the other one is the Bhopal Storytellers Tribe. If you can tell us briefly about it, because Bhopal being in central India, in the heartland of India, um, of course there are storytellers, but we've never had a group there. So were you instrumental? How did that happen? Because I'm sure many storytellers from around India who live in smaller cities would be interested to know.
Yeah. So this Bhopal Storytellers Tribe came into being around 7-8 months ago. Again, it is the effect of pandemic. When people started listening to all the stories around them, they came to our circles and also to other various, in the functions that are happening. I think almost everywhere, Delhi tribe, the Mumbai, your storytellers tribe, and all. So all this actually, I should say, the warmed up people. They realized the importance of stories. So we had a bunch of storytellers in Bhopal. While I was not staying in Bhopal at that point of time, they included me into it because finally I'll be there only. That's what they knew. So here I am with them now. So we conduct monthly sessions, and our aim is to bring stories to every common person, not just storytellers, but people who may not know so much about the importance of stories in their lives. As you know, times have changed. Earlier, every house had one granny or maybe someone in the family who would sit and tell stories, which is no more prevalent in the nuclear families. So I thought, together as a group, let's do something. So we have story sessions for children, and we also take a monthly theme. For example, this month is the birthday of Dhyan Chand. So we are having personal stories this month, and the theme is the Dhyan Chand in me. So we are talking about to people who have done something in the field of sports, maybe personal, maybe small or big. We have a group of cyclists who have gone from Manali to Leh. So we have called them over to tell stories, again, to inspire more people to join such things and keep themselves physically and mentally fit. You know, when the mind is fit, everything else follows. So with that
Absolutely.
aim, we are working.
Wonderful. More power to you, Poonam. And then with just Olympics, which we just completed, and so well, India has done herself proud by winning gold, silver, and bronze, and that's fantastic. So nice to have the Dhyan Chand in me. That's a wonderful, wonderful theme, Poonam. Poonam, as you know, the USP of Storytellers Cafe is to listen to stories. And that's why storytellers come here, they share a couple of stories with us. And you did mention that you tell stories in English and Hindi. So can we have one story from you before we move on to your wonderful eclectic career of being an army officer's wife and the amount of work that you've done? So do you think you could pause here and tell us a story?
Definitely. And telling a story is always something that I love. And today I've chosen a story that I have written. I have realized that somehow the stories that I write have the main protagonist is always a woman. And this story I wrote for, you know, the women in Gujarat who were the salt workers. It's about that. The name of the story is Khari, and here it begins. The bus came to a sudden halt, and so did the thoughts of Maya. She opened her eyes and looked outside. The bus had stopped in the middle of nowhere, just like Mohan had left her in the middle of nowhere. The room was buzzing with activity. Myriad sounds were coming from all corners of laughter, of chatter, of whispers, and loud thumping music. Maya wondered why she was here. She even regretted accepting the invite to this party. She looked outside. It was a full moon night. How she craved to be out and walk with the sun beside her throughout the night. She needed some fresh air. She sauntered towards the balcony. She saw a shadow. Oh, I have company here too. As if the shadow heard her thoughts, the shadow turned around and started to leave the balcony. She said, "No, it's okay. You can stay here. I don't mind a little company." The shadow turned towards the wilderness and once again started gazing into the night. There was silence. Maya looked around for some time, and her glance fell on the neon light far, far away. It said, "Cafe Coffee Day." "Care to have some coffee?" she said. No response. She moved closer to the shadow and stretching her hand towards him, she said, "Hi, I'm Maya." He turned around. "Mohan, could you get me a cup of coffee? Let's walk." Both left the room unnoticed. The effervescent Maya kept talking, and the silent, deep Mohan kept listening. "Two coffees, please," ordered Maya. Mohan took the coffee and started sipping. "Are you always so quiet, or there is something special today?" asked Maya. And then she heard Mohan. "Can I get some salt, please?" "Salt? Who has salt in his coffee?" The waiter brought the salt. He sprinkled some salt into his coffee, stirred it, and started sipping. "I live near the sea. All my childhood memories are from the seaside. And whenever I have coffee with milk, I'm transported there. And silently he kept sipping. They exchanged their mobile numbers and said goodbye for the day. They met several times after that. And each time they met, Maya was sure she wanted to spend the rest of her life with him. And soon they were married. And what followed was 12 years of total bliss, of happiness. They were always in sync. Maya's chirpy chatter and Mohan's silence. She never ever forgot adding salt to his coffee. And she loved the look in his eyes every time she took the coffee to him. And this was a daily ritual she never forgot in the last 12 years until the day Mohan breathed his last. Bus had started and Maya just did not realize. She only realized it when she got some feel of salt in the air. The day Mohan breathed his last, he called her, held her hand, and looked deep into his eyes. He said, life with you has been beautiful. These 12 years have been the happiest years of my life. But I need to confess, I lied to you only once. You remember? You remember the day when we met at the cafe coffee day? And I asked for salt. It was just a slip of tongue. And since the conversation started with salt, I went with the flow. I don't like coffee with salt. Mohan left a huge void in Maya's life. She wanted to move out of this space and she decided to go to the Run of Kutch, the land of salt, the deserts of salt. On reaching her room, she moved out to visit the salt stretches. And she sat there on a clearing to see the huge expanse. And what she experienced was nothingness, insignificance, infinity, and purposelessness. And above all, silence. She was dragged out of her reverie by the sound of a dog barking and some children. She got up and ran towards them. क्या नाम है तुम्हारा? She asked. मैं धूपा. ये किसना और ये राज. A lady in bright mirrored lehenga called the children, and the children laughed and fled from the area. There was something about that woman that stayed with her, and that night she kept thinking about her. She had seen something in her eyes, and she felt there was a soul connect. She wanted to know more about the girl. Next day, and for many days, she went back to that space, to that place. She kept looking for that woman, and one day she saw her colored ghagra and she ran towards her. And panting, she said, मैं Maya, और तुम्हारा नाम? She said, मैं Khari Memsa. And she turned around and started walking back to her village. For some reason, Maya started following her and reached her village. It was already afternoon. The sun was bright on the head, and Maya was feeling parched and hungry. Khari invited her in and gave her the bajra rotara, the garlic chutney, and the buttermilk. She rested a while, and then it was dark outside. Khari came along with her and left her at the same spot. It was a full moon night, and the light, which was falling on the white salt, was sparkling like diamonds. On an impulse, Maya held Khari's hand and sat her down. She picked a little salt in her hands, and she showed it to to Khari, and said, "Kitna sundar hai na?" And when she looked at her face, tear drops were falling down her cheek. And she got up and ran into the darkness. That night, Maya could not sleep. The face of Khari just kept coming to her mind. There was something about her. There was some secret. There was something that she had to find out. And from the next day onwards, she started walking to their village, the village Khara Ghoda. She went there, she met Khari and some of her friends. She started talking to them, and soon they became friends. And the stories that poured in were bitter, bitter stories of salt. These women, all were widows. They were called the salt widows. Their men, they worked in the salt fields for 8 months in a year, their feet always in saturated brine, which led to cancer and other disease. The white salt, and when the harsh sun shone on it, it brought early cataract and sometimes blindness. The men never lived to see the world after the age of 40. They knew nothing. They had got nothing from their ancestors but the skill of making salt. The children never went to school. For the first time, they had someone who listened to them. Khari kept listening and the stories kept coming. For the first time, they bared their heart. They took out the stories of sadness, of shame, which they had kept in their heart for years. That night, Khari went back to her room. She could not sleep. She went to the run, she lay there. The same salt that had brought so much happiness to her was the reason of misery for these women. Next morning, as she moved towards her bus with her bags packed, with a very heavy heart, someone came and put a hand on her shoulders. She turned around and saw Khari, looking deep into her eyes with hope. Didi, mat jao na. She hugged her, and then she surprised herself when she said, "हाँ, मैं कुछ समय बाद लौट के आती हूँ, Khari." She boarded the bus. Her eyes welled, her vision not so clear, but she could see the path clearly, the path ahead, very clear. In the insignificance, in the nothingness, in the purposelessness, she had found the purpose of her life. Thank you.
Poonam, that was such a heartfelt, heartrending story. Thank you for sharing that. And you wrote this story yourself.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Does it
The
have
story behind the story. I'll just take a minute to say.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yes.
my daughter, she had gone to this village to make a film. And when she came back, the word salt widow stayed with me. And then I did a lot of research, and this story, Khari, came into existence.
Wonderful, wonderful, beautiful story. Meant to be heard. I hope listeners you're enjoying. Do drop in your comments, your feedback on the chat so that Poonam will know whether you like the story. I loved it. I think it's a beautiful story, Poonam. And you'd mentioned that you've traveled to the remotest corners, India, as an army officer's wife, and moving from place to place. That also gives you fodder for stories. A lot of events and a lot of stories happening in these new places. So, do you think uh, these might have contributed to your writing stories, because you say that it has been quite a journey and constant shifting of stations. Um, has that kind of influenced your writing stories?
Yeah, yes, that's absolutely right. When you move from one place to the other, you see so much, you learn so much, you come to know about the culture, the traditions, the inhibitions, and also how the people of that area live, how they think, what is their, I should say, what is their grain. And when you live with them, you come to know more. You may read about them. Of course, there's a lot of learning through reading. But if you are there within, that community. So as an army officer's wife, when I was in those smaller stations where no one goes, I would go and mix with the community. I would go with those people, the villagers, the nearby. Like when my husband was in a place called Kumbathang, which is somewhere ahead of Kargil, I would visit the local village every day. When he was in Garhwal, I would go to the local people, meet the women there, see how how much work they do. The kind of, and women in the mountains I've seen work more than the men. So that was also a learning, which I realized that they are very hardworking. They do so much of work in the fields, and then they do their household work also. So all this, added to my sensibilities. And when you have so much of information, I think writing becomes easier. You have your characters, you've seen them, you've spoken to them, you've lived with them. So that added to my writings. And also, when you have seen the flora and the fauna, you've seen the mountains, you've seen the deserts. So when you're writing about that, the images that you bring are from your head and not from something else, or maybe not from Google. They come straight from here. You've seen that, you've lived it, you've breathed there. And I think that makes the stories more palpable, and it makes the stories more real, for me at least. So that's how I think my writing journey became better when I got married to a Fauji.
Lovely. What a lovely answer. I agree with you. Traveling, living in those places, bring the landscape alive. You don't have to go to Google and say, hey, just describe the desert for me. If you've been in the desert and you lived there, so you lived beyond Kargil area, that's an experience. You experienced the landscape, you've lived it, and giving character to your story, bringing them alive. Oh, beautifully you explained. I hope all the young listeners, the writers, the authors in making would take pointers from here. Poonam, moving on, you wear so many hats. I would like you to talk about the Ironman triathlon, because we've never had, I'm sure storytellers are athletic, but an athlete on our studios. And also tell us a bit about the playback theater, and if you have time to share another story. So go on, the floor
Yeah,
is yours.
so I'll keep this short because I want to share another story, and that's from the Kumaon region. So that also, I have been there, I have seen it, lived it, and that's how my character came alive. So about the triathlon. So you see, when you're a storyteller and you keep telling stories to others which are inspirational, I think some inspiration rubs onto you too. So when I was a ambassador with this Bhopal runners and also SBI Greens, I started running, and when I used to go to schools and colleges, corporate houses to motivate people to join the run. And there I would tell stories. And with me, there was one gentleman who was the first Iron Man of Bhopal, of Madhya Pradesh. So I heard his story. The minute I heard his story, I got so motivated. But then I did not have the know how or the physical, uh, uh, capability to do that. So, but inspiration is inspiration. When it gets rubbed onto you, it keeps pricking you. It keeps telling you that you have to do something about that. And then while I was telling the story, I would always tell the children the story of the two seeds. And the two seed story is that one seed kept lying down under the earth, and the other grew up and saw the world. So I would always imagine that, it is the story of the seed, and it's a story which belongs to me too. If I just keep there sitting that I can't do anything, I've never done a triathlon, I have never, ran beyond 21 kilometers, and a triathlon is quite a long, event where you swim in the sea 1.9 kilometers, you do 90 kilometers of cycling, and then you run 21.1 all in 8.5 hours, and it has its cutoffs also. So if you don't complete first cutoff, you're out of the race. So this motivated me, and it's history. The rest is history. I managed to do it in the duration of 6 months. I practiced for 6 months, and finally I did it. But I think it was my storytelling journey that actually prepared me for it, and that's why I say personal stories make a lot of difference. So this
Your
is
personal
what you want.
story, your personal
Yes.
story definitely has made a difference. This is fantastic, Poonam. Where did you train for swimming in the sea? I mean, that's the scariest part for me. So,
Yeah. So yeah, I would swim in the swimming pool, but then going into the sea is another ball game altogether. So I went to Goa 1 month before the event, and I was thrown into the deep sea by my husband. We were on a motorboat, and he said, "Now jump," and I jumped. And when I jumped, I swam because I knew how to swim, and slowly the fear of water became less. But yes, I always like to go in the sea only when I know there are a lot of safety equipment around. I do not take any chances, but I'm a good swimmer, yes, so I could do it. It was difficult initially.
oh, fabulous, fabulous, Poonam. That was my curiosity, which was, said, ask Poonam about it. Fantastic. I
Yeah.
have the fear of water. So, sea is a different thing. First one has to combat the swimming pool. Moving on, Poonam, tell us about the playback theater, or you can talk about it after
Yes.
you tell us your story, because everything that you
Okay.
do or tell is a story in itself.
Okay, first I'll tell the story and then a little about the playback theater, right? So this story that I'm about to tell you, again, the protagonist is a woman. And the story comes from the Kumaon Hills, and this time I'm going to tell you the story in Hindi. So here goes the story. नीले आसमान में तैरते सफेद बादल, गगनचुंबी चोटियां, देवदार के पेड़, चीड़ की पत्तियों से भरे सरपीले रास्ते, बुरहांस के फूलों से लदे मनमोहक पेड़, झरनों की आवाज, तालाब का ठहराव, सर्द ठंडी हवाएं और गुरैया का हर घर में डेरा। यह है सूपी गांव, नैनीताल से कुछ 70 किलोमीटर की दूरी पे, और यहां रहती है हमारी गुंजा। गुंजा कुछ 15 साल की होगी, चांद में घुले सिंदूर सी रंगत, काले लंबे रात की चादर से बाल, आंखें जैसे टिमटिमाते तारे, और आवाज आवाज ऐसी कि कानों में मिश्री घोल दे। स्वर्ग तारा, स्वर्ग तारा, चुन्याली राता के सुन्यालो, ओए होए के सुन्यालो, तेरी मेरी बाता हो, स्वर्ग तारा। गुंजा कुशाग्र बुद्धि भी बहुत थी। अभी इसी साल मैट्रिक में अव्वल आई थी। उसके माँ बाबू को बहुत नाज था उस पर, और वो बड़ी होकर अपने ही गांव की पाठशाला में अध्यापिका बनना चाहती थी, मास्टरनी बनना चाहती थी। पर अब पहले जैसा कुछ नहीं। एक अरसा हुआ इन बातों। कोई है? डाकिया, कोई है क्या? चिट्ठी आई है। डाकिया बुड़बुड़ाया। कभी इस घर पे चिट्ठी तो आज तक आई नहीं। इतनी दूर ऊपर रहती है मास्टरनी। चल चल के मैं तो थक गया। कुछ देर पेड़ पे सुस्ता लेता हूं, पेड़ के नीचे बैठकर। ठक 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 एक बार और उसने सांकल हिलाई। अंदर अंदर गुंजा ने आज गेहूं धूप में डाली थी, अपने हाथ से प्यार से उन्हें सहला सहला के फैला रही थी, ठीक उसी तरह जिस तरह वो कभी कभी अपने दिल में से यादों को निकालकर सहला लिया करती है। उसको मोहन के साथ समय बिताना बहुत अच्छा लगता था। मोहन साल में गर्मियों की छुट्टियों में अपनी नानी के घर आया करता था। मोहन देहरादून में रहता था, इसलिए गांव के सभी लड़कों से बिल्कुल जुदा था, बिल्कुल जेंटलमैन, पैंट शर्ट पहनता था। और वो हर साल जब आता तो गुंजा के लिए अपने झोले में ढेर सारी कहानियां लाता और साथ में लाता तोहफे। तोहफे कभी झुमके, कभी बालियां, कभी चूड़ियां, कभी किताबें। और गुंजा घंटों उसकी बातें सुनती रहती। वो दोनों बहुत देर तक दूर जंगल में आम के पेड़ के नीचे तालाब के सामने बैठकर बातें किया करते। धीरे धीरे लोगों में फुसफुसाहट होने लगी। ये सिलसिला 2-3 साल तक चला और ये खबरें उसके बाबू के भी कानों तक पहुंच गई। तभी गुंजा अपनी यादों से बाहर निकली और उसे लगा कि शायद बाहर दरवाजे पर कोई है। धीरे से गेहूं को एक तरफ कर, परे कर, अपने आप को उठाकर बढ़ी वो द्वार की ओर, दरवाजे की ओर। दरवाजा खुला तो डाकिया खड़ा था। चिट्ठी है बिटिया तुम्हारी। मेरी चिट्ठी? उसने अपने हाथ में ली, देखा तो नाम तो उसी का था और लिखाई लिखाई भी कुछ देखी भाली सी लगती थी। पलट के देखा तो पता देहरादून का था। झट से दरवाजा बंद कर सांकल लगा, अपने कमरे में गई, अलमारी खोली और चिट्ठी को दूर कपड़ों के पीछे बहुत दूर दबा दिया। बाहर धूप चढ़ाई थी, मां के खाने का समय हो चुका था। उसने थाली परोसी और मां के कमरे में जाकर मां को दी। गुंजा, कौन आया था अभी? मां ने पूछा। कोई नहीं मां, शायद डाकिया गलत पते पर आ गया था। ये कह वो बाहर आ गई, गेहूं समेटने। पहाड़ों की गर्मी ऐसी कि पूरी चमड़ी झुलसा दे। कुछ धूप की गर्मी और कुछ यादों का ज्वर। गुंजा पुनः ख्यालों में खो गई। गुंजा, वो गाना सुनाओ ना, स्वर्ग तारा वाला, मोहन ने कहा। गुंजा ने उसकी ओर देखा, दोनों की नजरें मिली और गुंजा शर्म से दोहरी हो गई। उसके गालों की लालिमा और बढ़ गई। कुछ सोच बोली, मोहन, तुम मेरा साथ तो नहीं छोड़ोगे? हमेशा मेरे साथ रहोगे ना? और मोहन मुस्कुराया। तभी मां की आवाज ने उसको फिर एक बार यादों के कटघरे से बाहर निकाल दिया। 2-3 दिन गुंजा के बहुत ही बेचैन गुजरे। रह रह कर उसका ख्याल उसी पत्र की ओर जा रहा था। क्या लिखा होगा, क्यों लिखा होगा? पहले जैसा कुछ भी नहीं। 8 साल बीत गए। एक बार पहले भी एक पत्र आया था, पर उसके बाद कोई पता नहीं। वो लेटे लेटे सोचती रही, अब पहले जैसा कुछ नहीं है। बाबा भी कह कहकर, समझा समझा कर इस दुनिया से चले गए। बहन थी छोटी, वो ब्याह कर अपने ससुराल चली गई और भैया भैया अब दिल्ली में नौकरी करते हैं। बस अब बचे तो मैं और अम्मा। कुछ भी पहले सा नहीं। न जाने इन विचारों में कब तक खोई रही, उलझी रही और उसकी आंख लग गई। अगले दिन सुबह अपनी दिनचर्या को करते हुए उसका ख्याल रह रहकर उसी चिट्ठी पर जा रहा था। अम्मा बूढ़ी हो चली थी, पर उन्हें सब कुछ साफ दिखाई दे रहा था। उनकी हंसती गाती बेटी कितनी अंतर्मुखी हो गई थी। अब केवल पाठशाला से घर और घर से पाठशाला, यही उसका जीवन था। हंसती खेलती गुंजा न जाने कहाँ खो गई थी। बाबा समझा समझा कर चले गए, पर गुंजा को तो जैसे कुछ फर्क ही नहीं पड़ता था। उस रात गुंजा अपने कमरे में अब खुद को रोक न पाई। उसने अलमारी खोली और उस पत्र को निकाला। न जाने कितनी बार पढ़ा होगा उसने वो खत। उसकी आंखों से अश्रु धारा बहती रही और उसकी दिल की धड़कन बहुत तेज थी। हर बार अगर उसकी नजर रुकती तो बस उन्हीं दो शब्दों पे, चलोगी गुंजा, चलोगी गुंजा। बहुत सारे सवाल थे मन में, लेकिन जवाब सारे गुम। इतनी हलचल थी, वो अपने जज्बातों के बहाव में बहे चली जा रही थी और कुछ निष्कर्ष पे नहीं पहुंच पा रही थी। और फिर उसने कुछ सोचा। उसे लगा अब मुझे आगे बढ़ना है। बाबा ठीक कहते थे, पुरानी यादों की झालर से नई दुनिया कभी नहीं सजती। उस रात उसने एक बक्सा खोला। उस बक्से में उसने मोहन की दी हुई सभी चीजें एक एक करके रखी। कुछ किताबें, कुछ झुमके, बालियां, वो लाल ओढ़नी, कुछ सूखे हुए फूल और ये पत्र। और फिर था इंतजार सुबह का। सुबह तड़के उठ गुंजा उस बक्से को लिए चल पड़ी उन्हीं पगडंडियों पे, जिन पे न जाने वो कितनी बार गई थी। उस जंगल की तरफ, उस आम के पेड़ की तरफ, उस तालाब के पास। सब कुछ ज्यों का त्यों था, जैसे कभी कुछ घटित ही ना हुआ हो, कुछ हुआ ही ना हो। अन्न भिग सा, मूक सा, सब कुछ वैसे ही अपने स्थान पे बना हुआ था। वो चलती जा रही थी, चलती जा रही थी और पहुंची उस तालाब के पास। पेड़ के पास उसने बक्सा रखा। बक्सा रखकर उसी पे बैठ गई। दूर पहाड़ों के पीछे से आसमान में सूर्य उगने लगा था। धीरे धीरे लालिमा छा रही थी आसमान पर और उसके मन में तो बस प्रश्नों का हुजूम था। सोचे जा रही थी, इंतजार कर रही थी, और इंतजार की घड़ियां वो कभी आसान नहीं होती। यूं भी 8 साल से इंतजार ही तो कर रही थी। सुबह दोपहर में बदली, दोपहर शाम तक। अब सूरज एक बार पुनः डूबने को तैयार था। कुछ सोच के गुंजा उठी। उसने वो बक्सा उठाया और फिर रुकी। बक्सा वहीं छोड़ वो चल पड़ी वापस उन्हीं पगडंडियों से अपने घर की ओर। जैसे एक परत दर परत उसकी खोलें गिरती गईं और वो हल्का महसूस करने लगी, आजाद महसूस करने लगी। खुद ही को उसने जकड़ रखा था, न जाने क्यों इतने सालों से। आज पहली बार उसे खुली हवा का एहसास हुआ। जिस तरह फूल की एक एक पत्ती झड़ती है और अंदर से निकलता है एक बीज जिससे संचार होता है नए जीवन का, इसी तरह गुंजा को महसूस हुआ कि उसके अंदर भी नए जीवन की स्फूर्ति है, जीने की इच्छा है। सीधी अपने घर की ओर गई, कमरे में जा दरवाजा बंद कर सो गई। अगले दिन दरवाजा खुला और गुंजा अपनी माँ से बोली, माँ, मैं जा रही हूं अपनी पाठशाला और शाम को थोड़ा देर से लौटूंगी। मैं सोचती हूँ संगीता से मिलाऊं, मुद्दत हो गई उससे मिले। और वो चल पड़ी पहाड़ी पगडंडियों की ओर। लाल साड़ी, लाल सुर्ख बिंदी में मनमोहक लग रही थी वो। गुनगुनाती हुई चल दी वो आज अपनी आजादी की ओर। स्वर्ग तारा, स्वर्ग तारा जो न्याली राता के सुन्या लो, ओए होए के सुन्या लो, तेरी मेरी बाता हो। शायद मन के हर्षाने के लिए, मन के हरियाने के लिए ये पतझड़ आना जरूरी था।
पूनम, बहुत खूब. My Hindi is so limited that some of the words I didn't understand, especially your last word.
Okay.
But I understood the emotion, the the depth of meaning or what it conveyed. May not know the exact. So, what did that mean? Uh,
That meant was that sometimes, to sprout the new life, the new leaves, the old leaves have to fall down. पतझड़ आना जरूरी था ताकि मन हरा हो जाए.
wow, beautiful. What a lovely story. What a lovely story, Poonam. You are a wonderful storyteller, not only in English and in Hindi. This is also your self written story?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, this is awesome. Awesome. Beautiful. We are indeed very happy and quite privileged to have listened to two of your written self stories, which is fabulous. Please, listeners, you can contact Poonam and get to know more about her and also invite her if you want stories to be told. So, like we had Asha Bajaj last week and working as a docent in San Francisco. Now that the world has shrunk, so Asha can visit your homes and tell you stories about the museum. So similarly, today the world has shrunk in size, and Poonam can reach you and share her stories. So don't hesitate to contact her. Her bio is all um, in the page that we have created for Poonam. Otherwise, put down and we will definitely answer you. I will try and put down Poonam's contact, especially the email, on the chat box. Poonam, thank you for that. And just before we close our session, would like to know about what is playback theatre. And you said that every month you have a show. So could you
Yeah.
just enlighten us about it?
So playback theater is also to do with stories and also, again, personal stories. It is also called the truth theater, because it is not the usual theater where we go and we listen to stories, right? To people playing uh, anything. It could be a story, but in this case, it is the viewers who come up with a story, and we listen to the story then and there and we perform it back to them. So that is why it is called playback theater. We do it in the
Let me
online.
understand. Sorry.
Yeah.
So as a
Yeah.
viewer, we come up with the story, and who play acts the story? The actors on stage, or
Yes, we are around a group of 8 actors on stage, and we are in the Zoom room with our windows, the 8 windows there, and the listeners who come to this place. We always have a theme. So they have, for example, if we talk about maybe the June showers we had. So it was about stories that they would want to tell us, and we would enact it to them, play it back to them, impromptu then and there. So that is why it is called the playback. We play it back to them. The stories come from the listeners.
wow, do invite me for one of the
Of
playback. I would
course,
love to hear.
definitely. We do
Love
it
to
on the
see.
last Sunday of every month,
Okay.
and it is the initiate. This theater group is the Playback Theater. Sorry, it is the Actors Collective, and it's based out of Bangalore.
Okay, okay. This is wonderful, wonderful. So there's so much that you're getting to learn from Storytellers Cafe, aren't you, my friends? I'm getting to learn so much. The different styles of storytelling. Playback theater is another form of telling stories, or when you give story prompts, especially when you do a workshop, and then you get your audience to start weaving a story. So this is something similar to that, when the audience gives you the prompts or gives you the story ideas. Thank you, Poonam. It's been a great pleasure to host you, and it's been such an interesting session. I know that India has done very well during the pandemic, especially we storytellers tribe have really done excellent work. So, do you have any last thoughts or something that you would like to leave the viewers with? Share any like we say, isms or some nuggets of information.
Okay. So that's a very beautiful thought that you've given me this little opportunity. And let me tell you one thing. I'm a big Bollywood, buff. I just love to watch movies and talk about them. So again, stories there too. So one sentence that comes to my mind is कि हम as storytellers हम दुनिया में इतनी कहानियां भर देंगे कि दुनिया बहुत खूबसूरत हो जाएगी. And why not? Let's fill the whole world with stories and make it a better and a beautiful place to live. And I would like to also read out a few lines from a poem that I wrote in Hindi and which talks about kahaniyan. Ki what are stories? So it says कहानियां वक्त की मोहताज नहीं होती, इनकी खुद की कोई आवाज नहीं होती. कहानियां वक्त की मोहताज नहीं होती, इनकी खुद की कोई आवाज नहीं होती. सदियों का सफर तय कर लेती हैं पलों में, सदियों का सफर तय कर लेती हैं पलों में. बेआवाज, बेखौफ, बेफिक्र, बेबाक, बिन हदों इनकी परवाज. जहां जरूरत हो इनकी पहुंच ही जाती हैं, जहां जरूरत हो इनकी पहुंच ही जाती हैं. दबे पाव पहुंच ही जाती हैं, रुकती नहीं ज्यादा किसी के पास, रुकती नहीं ज्यादा समय किसी के पास. ठहर जाती हैं मन में बस बन के एक एहसास. कहानियां जो वक्त की मोहताज नहीं होती, इनकी खुद की कोई आवाज नहीं.
Wow, wow. Cool. I love listening to Hindi. Oh my God, it's so beautiful to listen to the loves, to the phrases, and the spoken Hindi. Beautiful. But Poonam, I won't let you go because one question has been pressing about the podcast, about the army jawans or the
Yes.
army that you started. Can you just tell us very briefly about that to our listeners?
So on this 15th of August, three storytellers, we have launched our first story on a podcast called The Call of Duty, Real Soldiers, Real Stories. Now, again, it is personal storytelling. So I think everything comes in my life through personal stories. So the reason behind this was that there are so many stories we know about the Indian Armed Forces, but there are so many stories which we don't know because we think that it's only the ones who have got the awards and all that are the stories to be heard. But personally, I feel that every ordinary soldier lives an extraordinary life. So, with that thought in mind, I wanted to bring out the stories from the Army, Navy, and Air Force of how they live, what are their challenges, what I mean, even how a simple day in their life is filled with numerous challenges. So I thought a common man should know all these things, and it could be motivating and inspirational in a world where one problem comes in our life and all hell is let loose. And here there are people who live in the remotest of areas, away from their family, with no good food, no facilities at times, depends where they are, because when you are in Siachen you only get tinned food or maybe things like dry fruits and chocolates, but at that altitude after 10 days you don't like Kit Kats and chocolates also. So these things about the Army and Navy and Air Force, I wanted to bring these stories out. Coming from that background, I thought I can make some difference and tell the young generation that there's a lot more to life than comfort.
Fantastic. More kudos to you, Poonam. I hope you reach success with these stories, and I'm sure you will, because these stories need to be heard, even the personal stories. So that brings that real element into the story. So we wish you all the best from Storytellers Cafe, and it's been a pleasure to host you on this wonderful festival day of Raksha Bandhan. Happy Raksha Bandhan to everyone. Happy Nariyal Purnima to all those who are listening in from Maharashtra and all the Indian diaspora, the Maharashtrians. And happy, even the South Indians are celebrating their thread ceremony, and we also had a Devi Puja. So I would say, welcome to the festive season, happy celebrations, and may there be winds of change that will lift the veil of whatever we are going through and let the sun shine through, strong and bright, so that we can all venture out and meet each other physically. But do keep listening into Storytellers Cafe every Sunday at 9 p.m. Indian Standard Time, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Thank you, Poonam. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Usha. Thank you so much. And thank you, Storytellers Cafe and Bharat FM.
Yes, thank you to Bharat FM and Jai Hind. I have the job
Jai
of playing the jingle once again. So tune in to Bharat FM.
This is Bharat FM.
बजेगा भारत झूमेगा भारत.
ये है भारत FM.
बजेगा भारत झूमेगा भारत.